Good morning, church. It's Pastor Mike. I remember seeing a cartoon some years ago. I don't even remember where or what it was, but it was a single panel comic and it had a dog. And you could see this dog's teeth were finally around the tire of a car that was parked. And he's got it and he's bit and he's holding on. And then you can see the thought bubble above his head and it says, "Now what?" I think a lot of us can feel like we're in that position either after we chase something or look for something and we finally achieve it, or when something momentous happens in our lives, once the adrenaline wears off and once we are able to finally get over that moment happening, good or bad, we can be left with the question, now what? What do I do from here? Where do I go from here? I feel like the disciples were in that same boat as we continue to look through the book of Acts in the second half of chapter 1. In the first half, we saw Jesus, after he's resurrected, appearing to the disciples multiple times over the span of 40 days. And I bet it was an emotional roller coaster. The adrenaline was running, constantly wondering, are we going to see Jesus again? Where is he going to be? What's he going to tell us? What's the purpose? When is it all going to come to fruition? And we looked at yesterday the beginning of chapter 1 where Jesus ascends. And then the angels tell the disciples, "What are you doing looking up in the sky? Go back, get to work. That God will do something else, but it's not going to happen here. Go and wait and see." And so they go, and the Bible tells us, Luke tells us in Acts chapter 1, that as they left, they went back to Jerusalem and they stayed in a room and they prayed. Luke tells us that they prayed constantly in prayer, along with the women and with Mary, the mother of Jesus, with Jesus' brothers. All told, there's about 120 disciples at this time. They are committing themselves to constant prayer. They have a lot to process. Not only Jesus' death and his resurrection, his appearances to them, the fact that now they're waiting for something else, but there's also the very personal processing that needs to happen. That one in their number, Judas, is gone. And not just gone, but gone in the worst way after betraying Jesus. And as they process this and as they pray, God gives Peter some clarity, some understanding about what needs to happen next. That they replace Judas in their number, and so they pray more. They ask for God's guidance, for God to show them who to replace him with. They cast lots and they choose Matthias. But the entire process is covered in prayer. Everything that happens after Jesus ascends between that moment and chapter 2, where we're going to see the Pentecost, where the Holy Spirit comes down, the disciples are waiting in prayer. I think we can learn from their example that when we find ourselves in a position where we don't know what to do next or we don't know what comes next, when either something good or something bad has happened and there's so much to process, it's okay to take a moment, a season, and say, I need to sit, I need to pray. I don't need to keep myself busy and keep myself active and okay, what's next? Let's jump onto that. Let's keep moving and keep the ball rolling. It's okay to stop and to ask God for clarity, for understanding, for perspective, and for discernment on where we go from here. God's wisdom is available to us, just like Solomon. When we ask for it, we receive it. God doesn't withhold his wisdom from us, but we have to be searching for it, or we will pass over it every single time in favor of something that is louder or more urgent sitting right in front of us. So don't be afraid to stop and pray, not only to process what's already happened, but to help discern and decide where do we go from here. God gives us wisdom when we are in communication with him. So pray today. That sounds trite, it sounds easy, but pray. Ask for God's wisdom. Ask for God to help you know not only how to understand the things that have gone on, but how to put you in position for what God is planning to do next. If they hadn't come back and prayed, they wouldn't have all been gathered in one place in preparation for the Pentecost and the giving of the Spirit. God prepares us for his plan when we sit in prayer with him. So God bless you today.